While the iPod might be the perfect blend of form and function, it isn't necessarily always perfect. Sometimes it misbehaves, refuses to boot, refuses to sync, refuses even to play music. So we invited the author of this great book, Secrets of the iPod, Chris Breen, here to share his troubleshooting tips for you and your iPod. This is the 3rd edition?
Yes, it is.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's amazing there was a 1st edition, and yet it gets bigger and bigger each time.
3rd edition, and there are lots of, it turns out there are more secrets than I thought.
Yeah.
So the #1 tip for iPod users who are having trouble is?
Learn how to reset your iPod.
Reset.
Yeah.
You can reset a computer.
Yeah.
How do you reset an iPod?
Well, resetting an iPod is no big deal. Before you reset anything, just toggle the hold switch.
Okay.
Back and forth one time.
Okay.
Because sometimes it gets stuck, there's something going on, and or you may not even realize the hold switch is on.
That's why they say to do that.
Yeah, you're going, nothing's working. Oh, yeah.
The hold switch.
Sorry.
But that is true. Sometimes the iPod gets unresponsive. And if it's not the hold switch, this is one way to fix that.
Right. Okay. If you're going to reset the iPod, you simply hold down the menu and play buttons, which on the new iPods are these two in the middle here.
Okay.
And you hold that down for about 7 seconds until you see the Apple logo.
It'll just switch off and reboot.
Yeah, and this is if you're trying to play with your iPod and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
You're
that
stuck
happens
in a
to
playlist.
me, once a month.
Yeah.
Where it just stops responding.
Yeah.
So it's not abnormal.
No,
it's not a sign of trouble.
No, this is a little computer. You just have to reset it just like
crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Push the reset button.
All right.
Sometimes you'll put your iPod on connected to your computer, and it doesn't mount on the desktop.
Right. And that happened to me a lot.
Yeah.
For some reason, then it went away completely. What's going on there?
Well, again, it's a little glitchy, and when you get into that situation, you may want to restore it, and we'll talk about that in a second. But before doing it, you can force this thing
to mount?
To mount.
Oh, really?
And what you do is you enter something called disk mode.
Now, this is the tip that I had never heard of until you told me about.
I'm glad
it wasn't documented. It may be now, but it wasn't documented ever.
Well, the idea, again, is you reset it. You've done your 7 seconds. Yeah. Once you see the Apple logo, you press the forward and back buttons.
Okay.
And hold those.
Now, will that work on the first generation iPods?
It works the same way.
The buttons are just in a different position.
Yeah, exactly.
They're here and here, so you press and hold those.
Yeah, and when that happens, you'll see a little message at the top that says disk mode. And this is like on a Macintosh FireWire target disk mode. And it tells the iPod, get on the desktop now or else.
Does it always work?
Most of the time it does.
Oh, that's
nice. One thing for Mac users, every once in a while it won't show up, and under OS X, the trick to doing that, if it doesn't work in disk mode either, is to hold down the Shift key when you reboot. That takes you into safe boot mode, which is exactly what it is on Windows.
Right.
And some of the little startup items will sometimes keep the iPod from mounting. So you go into safe boot,
turn off everything.
Turn off everything, and it shows up on the desktop. Then you know you need to restore your iPod.
Well, and that's what I ended up doing, and I haven't had problems since. So show us about what is restoring your iPod.
Okay, well, what you do is you run the latest iPod software updater.
Right.
Currently, that's 2.0.1 for the 3rd generation, and for the 1st and 2nd generation, that's 1.3.
Okay. This is what you normally use to update the software on it.
Right. And what this really does is you're reformatting your iPod.
Oh, really?
You're erasing it. You're erasing it.
So before you do this, you should make sure that you've got all the songs on your iTunes.
And of course you do.
Well, you have to, right? There's no way around that. Okay, that's right.
However, if you've used your iPod to back up data, or on the Mac if you're using it for a boot drive, you want to make sure you copy all your documents off there before you do anything. Once you've plugged this thing in, and hopefully it will recognize it. If it doesn't, go into disk mode, get it to recognize it. Then you just push the restore button.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that because I like the data that's on the iPod.
You don't want to lose it. But it will erase it, and you'll start from scratch.
You'll start from scratch.
That often fixes everything.
That usually cleans things up.
All right.
It's also a mechanical device, so every once in a while the hard drive will have a problem. And
right.
if you want to find out if the hard drive has a problem, you reset the thing.
Okay.
And then you hold, and this is a handful, previous, forward, menu, and select, which is the middle button.
All 4 buttons.
Right. So once again,
previous, forward, menu, and select. Okay.
And what that will do is it will take it into disk scan mode, and you'll see a little hard disk icon, and there's a little magnifying glass and a little round disk.
Has this been in all the iPods
It's been in all the iPods.
They never told anybody.
They don't want you to know it.
I guess if you call support saying I'm having trouble, they'll
probably walk you
eventually
through
get you to this point.
Yeah, and the reset will take, or the scan will take about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
So make sure your iPod is charged. Because if it's not, and you run out of juice halfway through,
that's not good.
Not a good thing.
Okay. And it will detect any problems?
It will detect and fix any problems. If there is a problem that it can't detect,
I want to
you
run
will
this on
see.
my iPod.
What's in the book?
Should I run it? Is it okay to run it if you're not having problems?
You have juice?
Yeah, well, no, maybe not.
Okay.
It might be a little low on juice. It's only halfway across.
Yeah, you may want, because it's constantly hitting the hard drive, and it uses up a charge. If there is a problem that it can't fix, you will see a triangle with an exclamation point saying, I found a problem, I don't know what to do about it.
So that's when you call Apple and send it back.
That's when you call Apple.
Okay. All of this is in the book. Do you also talk about, you mentioned using your iPod as a boot disk. Do you tell people how to do that in here?
Sure do.
Is that a hard thing to do?
On the Macintosh, it's a little tricky because if you're running OS 10 Jaguar or later, which means Panther as of 2 weeks from now, you cannot simply install onto the iPod. You actually have to clone a working OS 10 volume to put it on there, and you cannot boot from a Windows machine with the iPod because Windows doesn't allow that.
I'm going to have to buy this disc. That's all there is, this book. That's all there is to it. There's some very good stuff in here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the book, Secrets of the iPod, the 3rd edition. Look right here. That guy, Leo Laporte, says, when it comes to all things iPod on a Mac or a PC, Chris Breen is the main man. He said so.
He said so. You got to believe him.
If you want the complete written instructions to any of these tips, visit the website, techtv.com/call for help. Thanks, Chris. Would you come back